Here with chapter 9, Knots to You. And it's spelled Knots, like kind of like a knot in your shoe or you tie a knot in something. So this is called Knots to You. Humphrey! Saya's soft, sweet voice woke me up from a short afternoon doze as I waited in the nature center for the next group to come in. I dashed out of my sleeping hut and hurried to the side of my cage where she was peering in at me. Saya! I squeaked. Glad to see you! Saya smiled, but it was a sad smile. I wish you could talk to me. What's wrong? I asked, because I could tell from her face that she needed a friend. You know how to get along with people so well, she said. I'm never sure what to say. Just speak up, Saya, I advised her, but I know all she heard was squeak, 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 which is one of the most frustrating things about being a hamster. Saya didn't like to speak up. When I first came to room 26, Mrs. Brisbane was always telling her, speak up, Saya, and over time, with Mrs. Brisbane's help, and mine, she gained the courage to squeak up in class and became friends with many students, especially Miranda. But she was still what humans would call quiet. Tell me, Saya, I told her, what's wrong? Saya pulled up a chair so she could be close to my cage. You probably don't even know about the clash of the cabins, she said. I do, I squeaked back. I was helping Miranda with her backstroke. That's a swimming stroke. But she's a robin and I'm a chickadee. Now the other chickadees say I shouldn't help her. Saya sighed. We were just having fun like in Happy Hollow song they taught us. Then Saya began to sing softly in her beautiful sweet voice. Happy Hollow, a place close to my heart. Happy Hollow, we loved it from the start. Where we work hard, play hard, and have lots of fun. Where it's one for all and it's all for fun. We'll remember forever these happy magic days. We'll remember forever our sharing, caring ways. And for all the days and weeks and years that follow, we'll remember happy days at Happy Hollow. Saya's big dark eyes turned on me. You hear that, Humphrey? One for all and all for fun. Wouldn't it be more fun if we could all do things together no matter what cabin we're in? It's only a song, I squeaked weakly, but I knew she was right. Well, thanks, Humphrey. Saya pushed her chair back and stood up. It's nice to know somebody will listen. I hopped on my wheel for a good hard spin. While I was spinning, I talked to Og. I like to help humans. You know that, Og. But I don't see how one small hamster can make a whole big camp more fun, I said. I was huffing and puffing a bit, partly because I was spinning hard, but partly because I was getting a little worked up. Boing, 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 Og splashed wildly in his tank. Okay, I'll think of something, I told him. Suddenly, the next group of campers streamed into the nature center, along with Counselor Katie and Miss Mack. Okay, kids, who's ready to learn some more about the wonder of nature? Katie asked. A hand shot up, and Miss Mack called on Noah. He was the boy from the Bob White's cabin who liked bats and knew a lot about nature. Why are these animals in cages? He asked, pointing to our table. Miss Mack explained that Lovey and Jake had been rescued and that Og and I were pets. Noah wrinkled his nose. Garter snakes live outside, and they can get along almost anywhere. My, Noah did know a lot. And hamsters are related to mice and rats. He'd probably be happier out in the woods, he said. Not necessarily, I squeaked. As much as Noah knew, he didn't understand everything about hamsters. I'm impressed with how much you know about animals, Katie said, but I'm not sure Humphrey would be safe outside. What do garter snakes eat? Noah looked up, thinking, bugs, worms, frogs, small rodents, he began. Hide! I yelled to Og as I darted into my sleeping hut, but Noah wasn't finished. I think we should let them out. No! A chorus of voices called. Not if Jake's going to eat Humphrey and Og, Ty shouted in a voice almost as loud as his brother AJ's. Calm down now, Miss Mack said gently. We hope to get Lovey back outside this summer if she's ready, but Humphrey and Og are classroom pets, and Jake is the kind of the camp mascot. Animals weren't meant to live in cages, Noah argued. They should roam free. The thought of roaming free at Camp Happy Hollow made me feel all shivery and quivery. Without a cage, what chance did a classroom hamster have when there were hooty owls and howlers? And when I thought of Jake out there, the shivers and quivers turned to shakes and quakes. We'll talk more about it when we take our nature hike, Ms. Mack said. Thanks for all the information, Noah. Noah seemed satisfied, for now. That night, I ended up in the chickadee's nest. Saya carried me there, and on the way, she said, You'll make it more fun, won't you, Humphrey? She knew I'd at least try. I must say, the girls in the chickadees cabin were very welcoming. Miranda's stepsister Abby was one of them. Once upon a time, I thought Abby was mean and crabby, but it turned out that I was wrong. Sometimes it was good to be wrong. I didn't know any of the other girls except Saya, but they seemed quite nice. They all watched me climb to my tree branch and ooh and awed and said how cute I was. Perfectly normal behavior for humans. I think I made the cabin more fun, but then, as on the other night, the girls left me alone while they went to the campfire. I was still surprised that Aldo and Miss Mack and the other counselors would take my friends to a dangerous fire. I will never, never, never understand humans, but I'll never stop trying. Once they were back, smelling a little smoky, Abby clapped and said, "Listen up, chickadees." She sat on a large trunk and the other girls gathered around. Do you know that a girls group hasn't gone to camp out at Haunted Hollow for 5 years, she asked. A girl named Val groaned. No way. No fair, right? Asked Abby. But this year, we're going to win. I'm sure of it. But how can you be sure? Val asked. Because, Abby began, leaning in close to the circle of girls gathered around her. I figured it out last night, and I've worked all year to make sure we win. Abby had my attention too. How? What? Huh? I squeaked. Knots. Abby gave the word great emphasis. Nobody thinks about knots. The other chickadees looked as puzzled as I was. There are 7 areas where cabins get points. Camp spirit, which means stuff like good sportsmanship, cleanliness, being on time, swimming, canoeing, volleyball, softball, archery, and outdoor skills, Abby explained. We're okay in volleyball, but probably can't win against the Bob Whites in swimming or canoeing. Not with Sam on their team, Val said. Yeah, but softball and volleyball are team sports, so he might not be able to carry the whole team. Then there's archery, Abby continued. AJ's good too, and his brother Ty. The other chickadees all nodded. But we could wipe them out in the outdoor skills. Abby spun around. She was face to face with Saya. There's a quiz on all this stuff like animal tracks and habits, she said. Saya, you can ace any test, so my money's on you to win that. Saya looked startled, but after a few seconds she nodded and said, I will try. So, there were tests at camp after all. Trail reading is part of our outdoor skills too. We've got to work on that. But since this is my 3rd year here, I think I can train a winning team there. Abby sounded very confident. And then we come to knots. Like I said, nobody pays much attention to the knot tying competition, so I've been practicing all year on my knots. I can tie knots blindfolded and behind my back. If I ace the knot tying, we've won outdoor skills, she concluded triumphantly. We just need to hold our own in the other events. Anybody good at archery? Val pointed to a tall girl with long braids. Marissa got a bullseye today. Abby walked over to Marissa. Fantastic, she said. Then we're counting on you. Any questions? I raised my paw. I guess I forgot I wasn't in room 26. But Marissa asked Abby the question I was thinking. Can we see you tie some knots? Abby reached in her trunk and pulled out a handful of rope pieces of different lengths and widths. Anybody got a watch with a second hand? She asked. Saya did. Time me, Saya, Abby said. First, a square knot. I scampered up to the top of my tree branch to get a good look at Abby as Abby took 2 ropes and began tying. According to Saya, it took her 4 seconds. The sheep shank was next. It took a second or 2 longer. The bowline looped around and around. Abby went so fast I could hardly see how she did it. The sheep bend was a very fancy knot, and the alpine butterfly was most impressive. Go, Abby, I squeaked in encouragement. It was quite a sight to watch her, and no knot took more than about 10 seconds. The other girls clapped and cheered when Abby finished. You're amazing, Val exclaimed. Even Sam couldn't top that. Thanks, Abby replied, but let's keep quiet about this. What goes on in the chickadee's nest stays in the chickadee's nest, and that means you, Saya. Yeah, I don't want you blabbing to Miranda about this, Abby said. I made sure she never saw me practicing. Miranda's dad was married to Abby's mom, so Miranda split her time between her dad's house and her mom's apartment. I won't blab, said Saya, but I must say she looked miserable. The door swung open and Katie poked her head in the door. Lights out in 10 minutes, ladies, she said. You too, Humphrey. After the door closed, Abby made everybody raise a hand and promised to keep their plans a secret. I raised my paw too. Amazing Abby just might show Super Sam a thing or two, which might be good. But Saya looked unhappy, which was definitely bad. Note to self, Humans aren't so good at climbing, squeaking, or spinning, but they have some very, very, very unusual talents. And that's the end of the chapter. So that's a pretty neat skill, knot tying. I don't know if you guys remember, but when we went to Camp Sertoma, we actually did some knot tying, didn't we? So I wonder if they'll be able to pull it off, and I wonder if Saya will be able to keep quiet. We're going to find out.